What's good, Commanders fans? And shout out to BetUS. Make sure you guys check out BetUS. They're sponsoring today's video. But that video that I just showed you guys was Brandon Coleman doing an excellent job against Brian Burns, an excellent job against number 45 for the Giants. I don't know his name, but the Giants, coming into this game, guys, we talked about this. The Giants had the most sacks in the NFL. They had the most pressure rate in the NFL as well. Not only do they have Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, Azeez Ojulari. They have legitimate guys that can get to the quarterback, and our whole unit held up against those guys and didn't allow any sacks on Jaden Daniels. I know Jaden Daniels is a big part of that, his elusiveness and escapability and his mobility. But at the same time, the offensive line has to do their part. They've done a great job. Not just this game, like Myles Garrett, 0 sacks, 0 pressures against us. The Cardinals game, they had 0 sacks in that game. There's multiple. Trey Hendrickson only had 1 sack when he's a dog. We did a great job against the Bengals. So there's many teams, the Panthers, they're not a good team. But you look what the offensive line as a unit did for Marcus Mariota, so he could just hang in the pocket, and Marcus Mariota was just turning around and doing a lot of happy feet, but he still made something shape because the offensive line was great. But I do want to give a big shout out to Brandon Coleman. Once again, did Adam Peters outsmart the NFL again, where he finds his franchise quarterback for the Commanders. And not only that, but a franchise left tackle. Brandon Coleman got the opportunity to start, not only start, but play the whole game from start to finish. And that was a big thing because Cornelius Lucas is out or was out. We don't know. Like, when he comes back, are they going to go back to that rotational substitution of Brandon Coleman and Cornelius Lucas? Because it's not like Cornelius Lucas was playing good football. He really was. The whole unit, from Wiley to Cosme to Biotis, shutting down Dexter Lawrence again. And I want to give an apology to Bobby Johnson, OG Bobby Johnson. I mean, I did not like the signing, the hiring when we hired Bobby Johnson for obvious reasons. We look at the Giants' offensive line last year or the last couple of years, and they've been awful. They've been bad. But Bobby Johnson comes to the Commanders, and guess what? The offensive line is just rolling on all cylinders. So I owe Bobby Johnson an apology. I said it to Joe Witt Jr. last week after our defense did a great job against the Bears. Now, they definitely need to pick it up after the performance that they did against the run game against the Giants. But, man, I just want to make this video to give a quick shout out to Brandon Coleman and OG Bobby Johnson and the whole offensive line. Just give them a shout out basically like I did last week with the defense. I will be going live tonight around 7:20 and wrap it up before the Monday Night Football game so you guys can enjoy that and watch that, the Chiefs versus the Falcons. We'll see if there's any trades made today. I don't think there's going to be any movement today. Maybe tomorrow. Well, not maybe, but there's going to be a lot of movement tomorrow with the deadline. Let's see if we make a move. I don't know about Marshawn Lattimore coming here, but we know guys want to come here. But everybody's excited about the possibility of that happening. But let's go over some Brandon Coleman numbers against the Giants. So he had 27 pass block snaps, 0 pressures allowed against Brian Burns, possibly Azeez Ojulari if he went up against him. 89.2 pass block grade, but like I said in that clip that I showed you, did a great job holding up Brian Burns. He put one guy in the dirt just like he did Trey Hendrickson that one play against the Bengals a couple weeks ago. But you look at the footwork from Brandon Coleman, just the arms, the hand usage, the strength. I mean, he just looks like a veteran out there. And then the 33rd team, they gave him a shout out, the 33rd team football or FB on Twitter. They gave him a shout out. So notable non-quarterback rookie performances from Week 9 Sunday slate. Brock Bowers was number 1, of course, other than Jaden Daniels, who's a quarterback. Brandon Coleman with 25 snaps and 0 pressures allowed, man. So he's in a good category with other guys that were in that category was Ray Davis with 6 touches for 90 yards and 1 touchdown. Jatavion Sanders with 4 catches and 87 yards. So Brandon Coleman was in a good group. This is not the first time that he has done this as well, where he's only allowed like 0 sacks and 0 pressures. He did it against the Cardinals as well. He also had the top pass blocking grade on the team with 89.2. He ended up with like a 76.8 overall PFF grade, which is really darn good still. He had a 78.6, 89.2 pass blocking grade, and a 70.6 run blocking grade. So he had the best pass blocking grade of our offensive line unit yesterday, and the best run blocking grade in our offensive line unit overall yesterday as well. Other guys like Andrew Wiley had a 76.6 pass blocking grade. Sam Cosme with a 72.3. Tyler Biotis with a 76.3. And, he had to do a great job against Dexter Lawrence, so he had a tough matchup. I mean, Brian Burns is a darn good. He was there. He was the Giants' big free agent signing, and Brian Burns has had a solid, really good career. as well. So for a rookie to come in and do that it just speaks volumes, man. It speaks volumes. And what OG Bobby Johnson is doing. I want to give credit to Anthony Lynn as well with the run game. Right now, we are first in rushing touchdowns with 15 in the league. We have 15 rushing touchdowns. 15. And that's more than what we had all of 2023 last year. It's just incredible stuff that we're doing. Credit to Jaden Daniels with him putting pressure on defenses where they have to account for him as a rusher as well. And then Austin Eckler stepping in, Jeremy McNichols stepping in. Austin Eckler had a good day yesterday too. So guys have been stepping up, man. It really has been a committee with B-Rob being out. Guys had to step up. Jeremy McNichols stepped up in the Cardinals game. And also Austin Eckler stepped up yesterday, man. So, I mean, offensive line has done a great, great job. Andrew Wiley playing better. I talked about that as well. And just what we've done. So, I'm going to see if there's any more numbers that I see here. But other than that, man, I just wanted to give credit to Bobby Johnson, man, because he came into his former team stadium and took over, man. To not allow them to have a sack and not many pressures at all. It's just incredible. Yeah, the Giants led the league in sack percentage with 13.31 as well. So I mean, it's just Adam Peters' masterpiece. Oh yeah, lowest pressure rates allowed by a rookie offensive line in Week 4 against the Cardinals. Brandon Coleman was number 5 that week with 0% off of 18 snaps. So he didn't give up any pressure against the Cardinals as well. And the Giants, they only pressured Jaden Daniels 5 times with Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns, and Azeez Ojulari as well. And then look at some stats from Week 4. I know it's a long time ago, a couple weeks ago, but still, just looking at this, we were the number 1 run blocking team via ESPN, number 4 pass blocking team via PFF, and number 8 pass blocking team via ESPN. I got to look at those numbers currently now and see if I can find that. Number 4 in pressures allowed, and again in Week 4 as well. So there's been a lot of times this offensive line has been recognized for how well they've been playing, man. And it's so funny how, us, we get worked up over things. And I think it was rightfully so to kind of be pessimistic about the OG Bobby Johnson hiring and just hearing about the development thing with, Evan Neal and some other guys. I think it was like John Michael Schmitz or whatever, who wasn't really playing well with the Giants either at the time when Bobby Johnson was there. So I think people were justified in having skepticism of Bobby Johnson. But any person, and that's why so many people want to come here. That's why players are telling their agents, hey, I want to come here. Come get me. Come get me. They're telling Commanders, come get me. Please save me from the situation that I'm at right now. Agent, please get on the phone with Adam Peters if you can. I don't know if it's tampering or whatever, how it works. I think Adam Peters has to make the call first. I don't know if the agent can initiate something. I think agents can initiate and they can contact different teams and say like Tre'Davious White right now with the Bills. He's probably the guy that's probably trying to come here, but at the same time, it's like, do we want Tre'Davious White? Probably not. But that's just an example here where, players, agents are getting on the phones and trying to gauge trade interest with other teams. And it looks like the Commanders are the first on the list where players are telling their agents to say, hey, I want to play with the Commanders. I want to be a Commander. I want to be in that locker room, turning up with Dan Quinn and going crazy and doing the thing with Frankie Lou, the ritual and whatnot. So that's what they want to be a part of right now. Jaden Daniels balling, throwing touchdowns to Terry McLaurin, 2 touchdowns to Terry, doing the 2 small on Deontay Banks. That's what they want to be a part of right now. So it's just awesome to see that, guys. We're going to party like it's 1996 tonight because we haven't been 7-2 since 1996, which is insane. It's about time. It's like, why not us? And then looking at Brandon Coleman, some of his relative athletic score coming out. And I remember when we drafted Brandon Coleman, like everybody's like, trade up for a tackle. We just weren't able to do it. No other team wanted to trade back. So it's not like we settled for Brandon Coleman, but he fell into our laps in that 3rd round. And I mean, everything has basically worked out for Adam Peters so far with the draft. I mean, Mikey Sanders still's balling. Ben Sinnott, he's starting to get incorporated with the offense a little bit. Jordan McGee just came back, so we'll see what happens when Javonte John Baptiste had a sack. He's on IR, but let's see what happens when he comes back. So this draft could be, everybody's like, oh my goodness, this is the best draft class ever. I'm not going to call it the best draft class ever. It's still too early, but it definitely has potential to be one of the best drafts for the Commanders and Skins and Washington football team ever, for sure. For sure, especially if Jaden Daniels pans out. But looking at Brandon Coleman's relative athletic score, he had a 9.96, which is insane right there. 40-yard dash, 4.99. So it just shows how athletic he was, how athletic he is. Vertical leap, 34 inches, which is elite. Broad jump, which was elite. 3-cone drill, elite. Shuttle, 4.62, grade elite. 20-yard split, 2.89 seconds, elite. 10-yard splits, 1.73 seconds, elite. So everything was elite, except for like composite size. And that's why people were like, oh, he may be a guard instead of a tackle, but he's showing that he legitimately is a tackle in this league for years to come. So I am intrigued to see what they do when Cornelius Lucas comes back, because I did want them to figure out for the playoffs. We're gonna make the playoffs, guys. I'm not scared about saying it. We're making the playoffs. Scary money don't make any money. So I just wanted to see what they were gonna decide to do for the playoffs. Are they still going to do this swap in, swap out thing, rotational thing? But I think, honestly, what they're going to end up doing is just have Brandon Coleman start, and Cornelius Lucas will go back to the back of swing tackle. They may still do the rotational thing. I'm fine either way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But Brandon Coleman did a heck of a job. So I just wanted to give him his credit, and OG Bobby Johnson his credit as well. Brandon and Adam Peters making things happen, man, making things shake. So, all right, you guys let me know what you guys think. As always, I can't wait for this trade deadline to happen, and I won't be surprised if they don't make any big moves at all, guys. So don't be disappointed if they don't end up with like Zadarius Smith, Harold Landry, or Marshawn Lattimore, any of the big name guys, Jonathan Jones. Yeah, just don't be too disappointed if they don't end up with the big name guys. That's all I'm saying. All right, you guys, as always, Hells Commanders, peace.